Okay.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Oh, speaking of brothers,
I know, dude. Hi! Welcome back to the DL Show. I'm Drew.
I'm Leo.
God, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been like what? At least a month, a little bit over a month.
Yeah, like a month and a half. I know. I'm like,
It's longer.
I think it really has felt like fucking a year, and like. I think that's also because in my mindset is like I'm such an anxious person. So if like, for example, if I don't respond to a text in one day, I'm like, oh, okay, like it's been too long. Like I already took like a full day. They probably what they were reaching out for, it's not even like worth it. So I don't respond, and then a few days pass, and I'm like, oh, but I should have responded. And now I haven't responded in 3 days, 4 days, which is even way more rude. But then I'm like, if I reach out now, long story short, I make things feel way worse and longer in my head than they are. I really, a gun to my head, I would have told you it's been like 4 months since the last time we've done an episode. It feels forever.
Yeah, it does. I feel like also because like we're busy a lot.
Yeah.
It just feels because I mean, Eileen and I always talk about it, how time just flies by when you're like. I mean, I've been working, and that's all I do. Like literally all I do. The only days I have off are Wednesdays and Thursdays. But I mean, everyone's busy. Like the only time I can see Eileen is like for a couple of hours. You, I mean, I hadn't seen you in like.
Feels like forever. My birthday?
I think so.
I think that's
except for that one time we came.
Oh, you're right, but that was like an hour. Yeah.
It was not much.
And you know what it also is? I don't have a car right now.
That too.
My mental health, my life is so interlinked with my car is what I've noticed. So whenever I don't have it, I'm like spiraling. Yeah.
Blame you.
Yeah. But before we get too much into it, it's been a minute, but what song have you guys been listening to?
Yes, the song that I've been listening to a lot is Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood by Nina Simone. You know, it's also a cover in Honeymoon.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Which, you know, it's, I mean, my favorite album.
Yeah.
But I chose her cover because I feel like, of course, Lana's is really emotional, but Nina's, like, the pain, the way she asked, like, the Lord to not be misunderstood, you know? Life gets to you sometimes. And, you know, one of my favorite lyrics is, I'm so carefree with a joy that's hard to hide. And then sometimes, again, it seems that all I have is worry. And then you're bound to see my other side. I mean, the stresses of life. Like, I get, like, you know, it gets to me. Like, I'm human. I'll, like, lash out on, like, my little sister, money problems or stuff like that. Don't misunderstand me, you know? I'm not doing it because I'm, like, sometimes, you know, it just gets to me.
Yeah, and if I seem edgy, I want you to know I never meant to take it out on you.
But also, it's kind of my fault because that's just how I process things.
I agree with you in the sense of, like, Lana's version is so cool. She's the cool girl, you
Yeah.
know? Like, there's sadness. When I hear Lana's, I think of, like, Alexa Demi, you know, soft.
Yeah, like Tumblr.
Exactly, which has its merits. But I've always preferred the Nina Simone.
Yeah, it's more personal.
It is. You feel... When Lana sings it, it's a beautiful cover. When Nina sings it, it's coming from her soul.
Literally.
Yeah, like, you
feel it.
Yeah, it's almost as... It's akin to listening to musical theater. When you know, like something like My Man, you know what I mean? Like when you feel the emotion in it, like that's the Nina Simone.
But what about you? What's your?
Okay, so for me, what I've been listening to quite a bit actually is I Think About It All the Time. I Think About All the Time from Charlie XCX.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and no specific like the whole vibe because it's very simple. It's essentially about her wanting a kid and like how there's people in her lives that like she has a friend and. Like they're a couple and now they have a baby and she talks about like now they'll know things that I'll never know and she thinks like is my career even worth it, like should I just get off my birth control? Those are thoughts that have been like ramming through my mind as well. Obviously not stuff like should I have a baby, you know, because she's engaged, you know, all that. It's just more of the sense of like I can't help but think about all the things I'm maybe missing out in life. It's so funny because every time I hear that line where she's like now they know things that I don't, I always think about my friends who are in relationships. And I've kind of talked about it before where I just feel like if, in a beautiful way, all my friends who are in relationships, they kind of exist in a parallel world to me. Where like our lives are basically the same, but they have another person in their life that is just different. It's something I just can't understand. I can't like relate to. It's been so, like I was literally 15, 16 the last time I felt so carefree into a relationship, you know? And so, like, I think of, like, my buddies, my besties, you know, Eileen, like, Alex, you know, and they're in these beautiful relationships. Yeah,
I always think about Barry. Shout out Barry.
Shout out.
Fan.
Yeah, a billion. No, and, like, I think of, like, so, like, I have this buddy who I love so much, Paul, and his girlfriend Isabella, who I adore. Speaking of, like, #1 fans, like, there's so many people in my life who have these beautiful relationships. And it doesn't bring out a bitterness in me. It's more of the fact that I'm just like, damn, like, I wish I could exist in your guys' world. Like, even small things where, let's say if I'm home alone a lot, especially without a car. Like, 95% of my friends don't have cars, which I don't mind. I love to drive. I love being that. But when I don't have that, it's like, there goes, you know, a lot of friends that I can see. So I've been home alone a lot. And I just remember back to having a partner. And it's like, if you're home, you're just like, hey, babe, I want to come over, you know, or like, hey, let's go do something. Or, I mean, there's, of course, besties who are also free, but it's different. It's totally different. And I think about it all the time. I really do think about, like, damn, like, should I just, like, let go of these freaking ambitions that I have, these high standards, and just, like, settle down, get in a relationship with someone who's going to treat me nice, and I'm going to treat them nice, and it'll be good. That's something I want to talk about, too. I've just been tackling or having a lot of inner struggles about being single. Because sometimes I'm like, if I don't have a boyfriend next week, I'm crashing out. And I'm taking everyone down with me. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't need a man for 20 years. Like, I exist in the context of all of which came before. Like, I'm good. But before we really get into it, I'm like, there's an elephant in the room, which is we haven't had a minute when you're the elephant. So I kind of wanted to talk about that, right? Like, so you guys don't just think we, like,
disappeared or gave up.
Exactly. And that's especially on the give up. Like, it's not embarrassing. I'm somebody who, like, anytime I see, like, a store or a shop that, like, you could tell was made by somebody, whenever you see it close down, it always breaks my heart. It always makes me sad when I see people try and it doesn't work. How can it not break your heart a little, especially if you're so excited about that? And so, to me, that's always been, like, the scariest thing is, like, wasted potential. We've talked about it where it's, like, the reason why our podcast will succeed, not in, like, a metric scale, but, like, with us. Like, we feel like, even our first episode, we were like, we succeeded, you know? It's only because we're doing this because we want to, exactly. Not because we have this feel or need that, like, it needs to catch something, it needs to catch a wave so that we can go to the next step. Like, I feel like as long as we're still enjoying it, and we are. I love doing this.
100%. Yeah. I mean, we didn't do it for, like, however long, I don't remember. But, like, I still talk about it. Like, my coworkers, they always ask me, like, oh, so what do you do? Like, what do you like to do for fun? And I'm like, oh, I have a podcast with my friend.
Oh,
you know, like, and Tuesday, a coworker asked me, and then he's like, oh, what's your podcast about? And, like, I just started talking about it. I felt really nice.
Yeah.
You know? Well, like, you know, we talk about this and that. Like, and he's like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I'm going to check it out. And, you know, I love just, like, mentioning it because sometimes, like, for example, like my coworker. Yeah, it's really cool that you're doing it because after the pandemic, I feel like a lot of people just want to listen to people talk. Kidding? That's, like, the idea behind our podcast.
Yeah.
You know, like, we just want it to be, like, a conversation that people can just listen into and, like, feel like they're part of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like there's no reason for us to, like, feel bad. I mean, I don't feel bad. Mm-hmm. I just feel like we did need a break.
Yeah.
And maybe we should have communicated it better.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, we're new at this.
Yeah.
Moving forward, maybe we'll do it better.
We will. No, here's another thing. I was talking about it earlier, and this totally ties into even this. We didn't post the day we're supposed to, right? And I didn't make an announcement about that, right? And, like, one day passed, and I'm like, fuck, I should have said something. And then, like, a week passed, and so that applies to everything in my fucking life. And this was just another case where it's like, I kept beating myself up, being like, Andrew, at least, like, you have clips. Just post them in the meantime, you know? But I just felt like acknowledging the fact that I wasn't doing it was, like, what I was fearful the most. Because then if I started posting these old clips that I still have and I still should and I will, it just felt like it was acknowledging the fact that I dropped the ball on this. This is how I felt. Because I feel like this past month and a half, we just couldn't do it. And it was enumerated reasons. But one was very much like, is my mental health. Like, June was such a struggle month, which is so random because that was like my birthday month and I had a lot of fun things, but I was just so stressed and overwhelmed to the point where like I have a cat. She's been like the best thing ever for my mental health. I was supposed to get the cat like the day of my birthday, and it was like a week or two before, and I was literally telling my friend who said she'd get me the cat. I was like, I can't wait. Like I am so down bad. I can't handle this. Like this is like killing me. Like I need a cat. I need an emotional support animal, and like that's already helped so much. Even like to get out of bed. In the past, if I'm waking up down, like I can be in bed till 12. And just like not in a fun, restful way, but in a like I'm just depressed on TikTok, I'm depressed on Twitter, I'm just being like not the best. But like having a cat, like I'm like, okay, if it's 9:30, I'm like, okay, I need to get up to feed her. So I get up and I feed her, and I'm like, well, I'm up. I'm not gonna go back to bed. And so even small stuff like that has really gotten me to like take control of my mental health a bit more. I was working a second job, which I've talked about, and I finally quit that. I'm doing a lot more writing, like a lot more. That's the thing. I have my main job. I have all these personal projects, including this podcast, and then another personal project I'm working on is like a web series that I really want to make, but it's so hard. And like it took me 40 minutes to figure out a fucking Google Calendar. So like I'm like trying to interact with at least 20 people to schedule stuff, and I'm like, it's hard. It's so hard, and so all this difficulty what felt like was being like thrown at me and at the podcast in general. So I just was like, I can't do this right now. But I missed it. And like you said, like people would bring that up. I talk about it without shame, which is different than in the past. Because I would have been like, yeah, I have a podcast, but like I would have beat myself up before. I would have been like, yeah, I haven't posted, or and all that. But no, I'm like, oh, we have a podcast, blah, blah, blah. I will say it is kind of like, people will be like, so when's the next episode? And every time I'm like, like you don't ask me that question, because it takes me out of the delusion that that's not really a thing anymore, because like when I'm really stressed about something, I like to pretend it doesn't exist. Not like always, but like a text that I haven't responded to in like a week. Now it's been a week, I'm like, okay, whatever, just whatever. And so whenever someone calls me out on it, even to be like, oh, did you ever talk to that person, or blah, blah, it's like, don't break this bubble, don't burst this bubble of delusion I've been living in. But I've been popping in, and I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad we're doing this, and I just know I was struggling a lot mentally, if I'm going to be honest. And you guys knew that. Like even the last episode, I didn't end up editing it, and we'll talk about later, like things were changing about the podcast, which is good. The last episode, like my song was like, it was Thank You Song from FK Twigs, which I'm literally like, I don't think I said it. The first line is like, I wanted to die, I'm just being honest, no longer afraid to say it out loud. I'm like, that was me last month. And I'm like, I'm good, I feel better, but that's just really where I was at, where I was just like, so stressed. I feel ready for this, and I'm really happy to be back. I'm really, really excited. We just knew we had to record today. There's an issue with the audio, but we're like, we're doing this. Yeah. Like, we had to just get back.
And like the audio thing is my fault because I forgot my laptop.
It's no big shift.
Yeah, exactly. Like the podcast is not, we're not professionals yet.
We're not in a studio.
We're not. Yeah, I mean, me.
Yeah, what was this month like June? Okay, all.
Right? Like that was so long ago. I got a haircut.
Oh my god! Yeah.
So I got a haircut. Like I don't know. I just wanted to change. You know, and I feel like your appearance is like the quickest thing you could change. So yeah, one morning I went to do laundry with my mom. So she was just like, do you want to get your haircut? I was like, yeah. And like we were on our way there, like I was just thinking, like reminiscing of all the things and like that I've been through with my long hair. Because I mean, people say, I don't know, I made it up probably, but like your hair holds your memories. I don't know, on the way there, even sitting down, like when they started cutting it, like I started tearing up. So many memories. I kept the hair though, like the,
oh my god, you did?
The ponytail. Yeah, my mom was like, you should give it to kids with cancer. I'm like, no. Like I don't want people with my hair.
Yeah.
But also, it wasn't that much, so they weren't going to get a wig.
Yeah.
So I just kept it for memories.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's been saying I look really handsome at work, and
Yeah.
I love it. I feel like that's why I'm low-key getting back into, like, feeling like myself. Because, like, with work, I've been doubting myself a lot. Like, it's been really, like, stressful. Because, like, deep inside me, I know that I'm capable of anything I put my mind to.
Yeah.
Getting laid off from like my previous job, even though I was doing such like really good work, it kind of stunted me in the way that like I started doubting myself so much. It was crazy. It was like it threw me off so bad. And like now I'm getting more into into myself again. Like the song says, I have a joy that's hard to hide.
Mm-hmm.
And and I'm feeling that joy back again. And that's why I wanted to record today, even though I forgot the laptop. Because I want to start breaking those like cycles that I was putting myself into.
Yeah.
Like the cycle of not recording. Like I want to start doing that again.
Yeah.
Because like and also it's just a really good avenue to like talk.
Yeah.
Just yap. And like it's like screaming into the void. Like if no one listens, at least the void will.
Yeah.
So like I just like having this avenue.
This one is a lot more freeformed. And I love both. I love when we have like a very specific topic that we can just really like chew into.
Yeah.
But then I also love when we can just let because this is normally how we talk. When we for the years that we would just sit and talk, it would be us just like to ourselves on our phone, and then one of us would randomly, oh, well, did you hear about this? Or like, what do you thought? And then we would talk for a minute, But I feel like we haven't been able to just talk us two in a minute.
It's because like the schedule I have, it's so annoying.
Yeah, it is low-key in the middle of the week.
I know. And like I work afternoons.
Yeah.
I get off at 9.
Yeah.
So I can't do anything in the morning because I have to go to work.
Yeah.
And then I can't do anything after work because it's
so
late.
Yeah.
It's a small sacrifice for like
the greater good.
The greater good.
Yeah. And ultimately, this will all reward you in the end.
100%.
It's so funny because I have these friendships where I've always prioritized my friends over my partners, which has caused issues in the past, which is fair, it needs to be a balance. But I'm also so used to having friends who are single. Like, I feel like it was easy to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to actually hang out with my friends because all my friends were single too. I feel like I never really, had friends who were constantly in relationships. One of them was, my roommate, my old roommate. He was in a relationship for a while, but, that one was, the longest relationship around me, if you really think about it. None of my friends were dating other people. And so it's so weird because now I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like everyone's slowly booing up. It's world shattering to me because I was just I'd already built such a routine with certain friends. I kind of had these different expectations of these friends that are totally on me, But then now that I have to change those expectations, it was kind of weird. Especially I was alone, I had no car. I'm everyone's booed up and busy. I'm no one likes me, and so I'll just start spiraling down. But it always start from the fact that oh, I'm single, And I feel I would tell myself well, if you were dating somebody, you wouldn't be spiraling like this. And it's I don't know, it's so weird. It's very much sometimes I feel on top of the world being alone, and then sometimes all it takes a match that I'm really liking, and then it doesn't work out, Quick, shit, my lady is calling. Okay, I'll even talk about it. Literally, I feel my life does not stop with issue. Literally right now I had to pause recording because I got a call from my landlord who's hi, you're having issues. So I pay my own rent. I live alone in a 2-bed. I used to have a roommate. I've had several, but I promise I'm not the problem. Anyways, I have to pay rent in an unorthodox way where I'm I'll pay most of it with my first paycheck, the rest of it with my second. Just so I also have money for gas, food, because I can't just give my whole paycheck and then just die for 2 weeks. But then she called me. She basically called me yeah, we noticed it's a pattern that you pay half and half, and you have to pay it all up front. And I low-key we were talking, and I was yeah. And I looked down and I just saw a text from my apartment lady call me now. We need to talk about it, the office. And I was oh! I don't mind it, but I feel my life is constantly shit thrown at me. Thrown at me. And again, I don't mind it. That's what life is. But there's people who don't. People whose lives are just smooth sailing. I'm fuck.
Yeah, I feel you look kind of bad. like you said, it's always something. Oh my god.
I'm who did I piss off? Who didn't I? But
it's great to piss on.
Literally for this amount. But that's why I have to be able to laugh it off. I have to be able to smile it off. I have to just be okay. And that's why I'm so thankful I have you, Eileen. Because we're Kamala Harris. We laugh and we love to crack shit up. And that's how I've honestly been able to what feels like survived the past month and a half. And that's also why, like, I knew I was ready to get back into filming, because that last time we all hung out, which was like, it was only for like an hour, but it felt nice, and it felt like I got some like human like interaction back into my life. And I get human interaction all the time, but there's a difference, because when I'm at work, there's a level of performance you just have to put on. You're at a work setting, or even when I'm with family, there's a certain level of performance I have to put on. Or friends that I hang out with they don't know me like you and Eileen, you know. There's a certain level of performance, but like when I'm with you guys, I just can be like myself, and it feels really nice. And this has felt really nice, and I feel like, you know, that mental health bar, it just keeps getting up, and that's why I really wanted to record today.
Yeah, I mean, I love that, because I'm someone, the way I like to deal with my things is I like to have, like, I call them, like, mental anchors. You know, that, like, whenever I feel like I'm spiraling or, like, going crazy, like, Eileen's one of them. Mm-hmm. Like, I used to have one when I worked at Walmart, a long time ago. And it was kind of stressful. So, like, I had a mental anchor there. Mm-hmm. You know, I just like having almost, like, security. Yeah. You know, that it's always going to, like, they always pull me down. Yes. You know, I mean, I don't have one at work right now, because the one I had, Loki, got fired. And the one before, like, we moved. I'm not in the same department.
Yeah, and I feel like those people also know you enough to know what will calm you down too.
100%.
Like, versus like people who think they're helping and they're making things worse.
No, yeah, like,
why did your guy get fired?
It's just, I mean, my work, it's really, it's very like seniority based. So like people have worked there longer, more like room to like slack off, because you know they've been there for years, and like. My coworker, he was a guy. I mean, he was cool, but like he loved having a target on his back. Like he wouldn't work. You know, he thought, and like the thing is, the job that we do, it's really easy. It's not hard. Like we look, get paid really well for like what we do, and like some people think that just because because we're temps, some people think that once you're in, but like no, like you still have to get hired. Like only once you're a Costco employee, that's when you can like slack off or like do whatever you want, because like it'll be hard for them to get rid of you. But my coworker, he talked a lot, but more than anything, like just people didn't like his mom. Like people found out who his mom was because she works there, and since especially this like little group, they got wind of who she was and they didn't like her, so they put it out against him. And apparently, I mean that's what people say. Apparently, like, a bunch of them just, like, went and complained. They all complained, saying that he was super aggressive, like, lazy, a bad worker. And, like, and yeah, that's all it took. And, like, wow. I know. And literally, like, our work week began Friday and ended Tuesday. And literally on Wednesday, like, our day off in the morning, he texted me. I remember I went to McDonald's with my mom to get her coffee. And then I got the text, and he's like, "Oh, Leo, guess what? I got fired." I was like, and in my head, I was like, I knew it was coming, because like, I don't know, you kind of just, I mean, maybe because I've been there for like a little bit, like you can kind of tell when like something's gonna happen. Yeah, when the tides are turning. Yeah, when like there's a shift, and like, oh, there's a storm coming, and like, I don't know, everyone kind of already had a wind that he was gonna be laid off, chopped. But yeah, and like that's why like I feel like that job is so stressful for me, because like it doesn't matter how, like, if you're a good worker or not, like if someone doesn't like you, that's enough for them to kick you out. Yeah. And that's what happened to me on the other side. Like I was such a good worker, and this lady didn't like one thing I told her about her doing the job right, and she went and complained, and I got let go. But, you know, good work always pays off, because I got hired on the other side, and now they see me all the time. And I'm sure the supervisors, they always see me, and they always, like, don't pay attention. But I know, like, deep in my crazy ass, I'm like, I know you guys feel uncomfortable that I'm still here. Because, like, you try to get rid of me, but I'm still here. Yeah. Like, I'm a good worker. Like, you can say whatever you want about me being problematic, even though I'm not. But no, like, the one thing you can't say about me is I'm a bad worker. Because, no.
And it sucks because you would think that's all that matters.
100%, especially in like a respected company. Yeah, you know, like Costco. Like I don't know. Like when I started working there, I was like, oh, like like a big American company. Like it'll be different. Yeah. But now, like, But I guess it's not the company's fault. I mean, it is because they perpetuate that system.
It's crazy because you worked at like the most sus place ever, that one warehouse.
I know, right?
And it's like the same as Costco. Yeah.
The cover only changes, but everything's the same. But yeah, and like that's just a lot of stress because like literally you never know. Like I always have this like fear in like the back of my head that like 1 week I'm just not gonna come back.
It's horrible.
And it's horrible because it's like it's your livelihood.
Yeah,
you know?
and like literally, thank God you live where you live. Or I mean, who you with, because if imagine you would have bills to pay or like rent.
Yeah, and it's so stressful. I didn't want to go. I mean, I do want to go back to school eventually, but
when do you think you are?
I don't know. I feel like I've been thinking about it. I would want it to be when I'm able to just like not work, because like honestly, I mean, but that was different too, because that was COVID. Like my grandma had passed away, so like. It was just a lot. Yeah. But I mean, when I tried working and doing school like at the same time, like I mean, I couldn't do it. I remember those were like hard times, and like, I just don't want to do that. I don't want to put myself in a position where I know I'm not going to be able to handle it.
Yeah.
And like, but that's the thing. I do want to go back to school. Like I'm almost done with my like associates. Like I can just go back, finish it, and then do my bachelor's. I just feel like it's not time. I just want to be in a place where. But then that's the thing, like, I just need to work.
Yeah. It's hard. We live such a, like, it's so funny, because I feel like before COVID, it would be, not cringe, but you wouldn't just casually be like capitalism, right? Like, unless you knew, you knew. Yeah. But in the past month, I've heard it, like, because I go to different places, I've heard it from, like, 3 different workers I've worked with, like, yeah, capitalism, right? Like, it's just, like, everyone is waking up to the fact that it's killing us. Like,
it is. It's kind of like Costco, like, you know, we have nothing to do with the system. Like, we were literally born into it, or, like, put into it, and now we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So annoying, because, like, all the old people get to benefit off of it. And also with, like, the economy, like, they devastated it. They think they left it, like, well for us, but, like, no, they destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that San Diego is so expensive. I mean, it's a nice city and everything, but, like, now it's the most expensive city to live in the country. Like, what do you not even the state, like the country? That's crazy.
That is insane.
Like you go to the grocery store and you buy 3 things, it's like $20.
Actually,
like, what do you mean? I just bought grapes and 2 sodas.
Yeah.
Like it's but like, you know, we just have to push through.
And it's nice because it feels like the boiling pot and the frog metaphor, where like literally, like it's just rising more and more and more.
You don't feel it because you've been there the whole time.
Exactly. Like, isn't it crazy? To this day, gas has not gone back to $3. Like, it has just been... and, like, we all accept it because we're all used to it, but I remember a fucking time when it was even $2, like $2.90 something, you know? Like, and we just end up having to accept it because it's like, again, you can't go backwards what it feels. I truly don't. I can't imagine the economy doing better. Like, I can only see it doing worse. Like, at the rate where... I mean, I don't know if y'all saw, like... just the state of everything in the world right now. Like, we have Dementia Joe, we have stunt queen Donald Trump with the fakest assassination attempt I've ever seen.
Allegedly.
I don't know. What do y'all think? The whole, like, the photographer...
in the comments.
What do you think?
What was fake?
Right? What did you...
I thought it was fake.
Right?
Like, it looks so fake. And I went to see Maxine with a friend, and we were talking about it. And he's like, well... He was part of the WWE as like an actor or whatever. Yeah. So he has that, like, he can probably just get blood from them and like and I don't know, the way the Secret Service handled everything.
Come on,
I'm like, you guys are gonna get fired,
literally,
because like if it was a real threat, like the president wouldn't just stay there. Like you guys have to rush him out of the stage into safety.
They let him pose for a fucking photo. Yeah. Like, come on, it's insane. And then I saw people talking about it. You've seen that photo, right?
The one,
like, yeah. And then someone said it, like, even though, like, that photo is probably going to win a Pulitzer Prize. Like, it is probably going to be taught in history books.
No, and and my mom and I were talking about it because she was like, did you see? I was like, I feel like that handed him the election.
Billion.
That was...
Against Joe, yes.
I got COVID. Like, good luck making it the weekend. You know...
I feel like Kamala could somehow... If, like, they... Yeah. I think Trump got handed the election against Joe Biden during that. But I think if Kamala takes steps up and he gives her the presidency, at least the ballot, I think we're back on more even playing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how trustworthy they are. Trustworthy.
Yeah.
But I saw like polls. It was like Sleepy Joe. I mean, Joe and Trump. It was like 49, 46 and 47.
Mm.
But with Kamala, it was 49 and 47. So, you know, I feel like the public would be more accepting of getting her over Joe.
Well, come on.
I mean, anyone.
Ridiculous.
And I feel like that's why, maybe that's why they're pushing him out.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. All of this is allegedly.
Yeah.
But
we're not experts. So.
And this is another thing, too, where I'm like, oh, how can anyone not be depressed? Look at our government. Look at our economy. Like, look at stuff at the macro
Bigger
level.
scale,
Yes,
yeah.
which is like, we're still fucked. But then you look at shit on the micro level, which is like my everyday stuff. It's still fucked. It's fucked at the workplace here. It's fucked in the economy here. Everything's so expensive here. So I feel like, you know what it really was? It's just, it was life burnout from everything. Like, that's low-key what I realized this past month and a half was. It's like, I'm burnt out, not even on doing one particular thing, just like participating in life. Yes. And it's like, even one thing that, thank God, you know this, I had recently just was like, I don't even know, emancipated from this fucking friendship that I had that was like a decade long, that just, by the end of it, was just full of resentments. And it was another thing that was draining, and that was another thing during it was June, you know, it was my birthday month, it was Pride, it was my month. You know, there's so much shit that was just like getting thrown at me. I'm just like, let me breathe, you know. A friendship ending kind of like argument with a friend. And it's so weird because like, I am the person where it's like, I will hold on to a relationship that's, even if it's bad, like, if I love this person, then I'm going to hold on to it. Whether that be romantic, family, or friends, like, if I love this person, I'm going to hold on. Which is like, you know...
Hey, you! Oh, that'd be cute. Like,
right? Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, and I feel like it's so weird because the older I get, the more I'm like, wait, why am I holding on to these toxic relationships? Whether that be family, friends, romantic. Like, it's easier for me to end a relationship now when I realize, like, wait, I don't really vibe with you. This isn't going to work. And with family, I'm like, I've known how to put boundaries, but I haven't had to cut off any family because, like, after I put the boundaries or after I make it known that, like, I'm in a not great place with them, we work on it. And that's usually the case even with friends. But this one friend, it's like... And I'm going to save a lot of what issues I have about this friendship for that episode, but it does boil down to the fact that, like, I pride myself on being a good friend. I try to, I mean, in high school, I was a Gemini, fake little B. I was a bit two-faced. And, like, I've always looked back on that super ashamed. Like, I was a kid. I was literally a kid.
So like, don't hold yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Like to the standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you were a kid.
I was a kid, but like I've grown past that so far. And you guys know, like, I hold on. You know how many times me and this person fell off. And then they would say, but this is like, when I got the message that they were like, don't even message me again, the biggest smile on my face. I was like, like, I felt free. Like, and that was another thing where I realized, like, that month, I was just dreading interactions with this person. I was dreading all this stuff. It was before my birthday party, and so I was already putting so much anxieties onto me. And again, like, I don't need that in my life. Right now, I'm so, like, focused on trying to make sure I am, like, mentally okay that I can only really allow the good in my life. And if you're bringing, like, more negative energy than you're positive, which this friend has always done, like, even as long as I've known this friend, like, they've always been a very negative person. Yes. And I've always been like, I thought we had a golden retriever black cat dynamic, you know, where I'm like, okay, you could be the Debbie Downer and I'll be like the extremely positive person, that, you know, and we'll balance each other. But it got to a point where I felt like my positivity was making them more mad. Versus a balance of like, they're more real, so they'll ground me a bit. And then since I'm so high positive, it brings them out of that used to be our dynamic, you know? But it became like, no, you just don't want to be happy. And like, when I'm happy and that's bothering you. Yeah, like, really let go. And that's why by the time I got the message this month about like, yeah, don't even message me, it didn't feel like I was sad. It didn't feel like, damn, but I just lost. It just felt like, okay. Like, Rose dropping the necklace into the ocean, like goodbye. And I feel like I'm going to carry this energy for a long time of like, if I can let go of a friend of like over a decade, then I can let go of a guy who I was dating a few months, or I can let go of this thing or this. That was something that was really stressful last month for sure. Um, I feel like I love that you have like you have the tightest circle, Do you, like when you hear me rant about stuff like that, does that ever make you feel like, thank God I do? Or how does that make you?
I feel like that's why I have it.
Yeah.
Like, I like to be meticulous about like the people I keep around myself. And like, like high school, I had a lot of friends. I look at the ones I have right now, and I'm grateful.
Yeah.
It's like, it's better to be better. I don't know how it goes anymore. Like, es mejor estar bien acompañado. Que, it's like, it's better to be with good people than with a lot.
Yeah.
And like, I can probably count on two hands the people that like I talk to like on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just with one.
Yeah.
And like, but I like that because it gives me my peace.
Mm-hmm.
Like earlier when you asked me like, anything going on, and I'm like, no. Like, yeah, it sounds lame, but no, like, I love peace. Like, I love my peace.
Yeah.
Like, if I could move to a mountain and like have everything I need, like in a phone, which I can to use to like tell Eileen and you and like my family that I'm good. I could do that. I would do that.
Yeah. Oh, you would do that.
Like, that sounds like such a dream. That's why I like my small circle.
Mm-hmm.
It saves me like those unnecessary dramas.
Yes.
But also, I feel like it also stems from like the people that I'm friends with like are also very mature.
Yeah.
Because like, for example, like my friend Kenya, like my friend Sandra, Mariana, Eileen, like you, my friend Sarah. Like, the way they're all girls, except for you. Like, I just love having those, like, friendships.
Yeah.
They do come with, like, time. Like, I've known almost all of them since the first day of middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're my longest friendships. But I feel like we worked on them so much that, like, that's why they work so well.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't have to see them all the time or, like, like, super frequently. Like, I saw my friend Lisandra last month for the first time in like a year, I think, and it was like nothing. I was just chilling at her house, like like we were talking as if like I hadn't seen her, like if I had just seen her like a week ago. It's sad, like like hearing you talk about that friend, because like you said, you guys up to a certain point had like a good friendship, but like also like you said, you have to know when. Just let go.
Yeah.
Maybe do you think if you guys had like talked about it, stopped talking earlier, do you think it would have like ended the friendship at a point where you could go back to it
versus now
that it kind of feels like over?
I'm like, I love talking things out. I truly feel like almost anything can be talked out, even if at the moment, like let's say we saved everything we had to feel about each other. And maybe at that moment we're still both mad, we get away from each other. Eventually, those wounds will heal, and then we can kind of get back into it. But this person, one, we didn't end up having that talk. But I don't know if that'll change, because I've had so many talks with this person, and it's like a brick wall. Like, I'll never forget, this friend was very upset at me about, and I won't give the specific details about a friendship I had with another person. And they were telling me what mine and this person's friendship was like. They're like, oh, well, you guys used to be like this, and now you're like that. And I remember being like, well, that's not how our friendship was. And this person was like, yeah, it was. And like, they were telling me about my life.
Is that like is that gaslighting? Or I always hear that term. But
yeah. So gaslighting would be more about like, which is fair, people use it, but like, a better example could be that, let's say I'm dating somebody, and every Wednesday, they're like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. We're going to go to the movies. And I check their location. I see them not at the movies. They're at a random person's house.
Oh.
But they tell me, like, I was at the movies. Like, your thing is glitched out. I don't know why. Like, you really... They're gaslighting me. Okay. I know the reality, but they're making me question my reality. It's so funny because, yes, now that I'm saying it out loud, they were using gaslighting. Yeah, they were using gaslighting, but I just think they're just so narcissistic that they don't think that they're doing it. Like they're just they really think that their reality is the only one that could possibly
Stubborn?
exist. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
like I remember I had sent this huge thing explaining why I was feeling away, calling out stuff they had done, trying to talk about boundary, and like the first thing they said after I like tried being like, hey, like wow, POVs are crazy. Like if I could have reached through my phone and went, I would have. Like what? Immediately
That's
was
all you took.
like literally was just like, oh well, my point of view is different. Yours is great. Like it just was like okay, and I just can't deal with that anymore. I can't deal with people who are like fucking drainers. Like god damn. Like nowadays, like if I'm hanging out with somebody, it has to be someone who's filling me full of positive energy. Like I used to be able to handle it. I used to be able to hang out with friends who were like, oh, I know that. Like that friend, the one who I'm no longer friends with, every time we hung out, it would take like the first hour and a half before we started being chill. Like it would just be awkward. I would have to we'd casually kind of maybe try and break the ice for like the first hour and a half, and then we'd be cool. But like now I don't even want to waste 10 minutes with somebody if it's going to be that way. Like if I have to fight while we're hanging out to feel like we're friends, like what are we doing here? It was just too much.
Yeah, I used to have a friend like that, like an energy vampire.
Yeah.
Like, they just sat there, like,
oh,
and like I mean, I like to think of ourselves like me, you, and Eileen as like people with a lot of light.
yeah,
100%. Like
it's kind of
coming like egotistical, but I don't know. Like I feel like we have a lot of light, positive light too.
Yeah.
Not just like and I feel like we attract a lot of people.
Yeah.
And like there's some people that just like, I mean, I remember this friend like she was. So, like, I mean, she was cool, she was chill and everything, but like, always complaining, always something wrong. And like you said, when you're with your friends, you just want someone that will like fulfill you, with happiness, and like, because that's what it should be. That's what friendships should like do.
Yeah.
And she was just like, I had to remove myself out of that friendship because like it was just too much. Like, yeah. I don't want to waste my positivity with someone that is not going to appreciate it.
I was gonna, oh my god, exactly that, because that's the thing, like, we're all human. Sometimes you come to a hangout and you're in a bad mood or you're feeling a funk. But like, if you just refuse to be in a good mood, if like you were genuinely like, no, I just want to be upset, like, what are you doing here?
Then why did you come?
Yeah, why did you come?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing, because it's so frustrating the way that like people have to hyper-analyze like every interact, or like, oh, so you're not a good friend because you're not letting them vent. But that's the small way of thinking at it. The whole thing is like, these are people that all they do is
literally, if that's all you do, then
what? Like, what is this? Like, if all you do is create a negative energy, if all you do is like not appreciate that I'm trying to be here with you, like, what are we doing here? And yeah, so then again, it's like I was already depressed on my own. Why did I need another depressing person in my life to just like suck it away? So I got my wallet stolen a bit ago. I have an ID coming in pretty soon, and then my car's gonna get towed like today or tomorrow to a mechanic, and that'll get fixed. I quit the second job, so I have more free time. I have my weekends again. That friend, no longer in my life. I feel free. I feel like really good, and yeah, I feel a lot better mentally. Like, if we would have recorded last month, I would have just been like a zombie, I feel. Or I would have felt like, I probably would have been the negative person, or I probably would have felt very negative. And I don't like to be that way.
Yeah, I feel like at one point, like, for me, I feel like it would just gotten to the point where I would have felt like monotone. Just like talking for the sake of talking.
Exactly. Like,
like, I feel like this has to be like genuine.
Yeah.
Like that's why we wanted to do it. I think that's one of the reasons why. Like, we want to be genuine, and like, if we're not going to be, then why do it?
Yeah, we're not clocking. This isn't clocking in a job.
100%. No,
we do this because we want to. So that's why bottom line, we didn't do it last month because ultimately, not in a selfish way. We just didn't want to because we knew that other stuff was taking so much of our time. So if we would have forced ourselves to done it, then it would have felt like it was a job. Yeah. Like then it would have felt like, oh wait.
And also, I feel like I'm the type of person that like I don't like doing things if I know I'm not gonna be like proud of it.
Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna do something, I want to do it and be like, okay, like we did a good job.
Yes.
But but like you said, if we're just gonna do it for the sake of doing it, like I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So like, in a weird, twisted way, this is also for you guys because like it'll be a good episode. Not a good episode, but like something good.
Yeah.
Not just like something that like we're just putting out there.
Exactly. So now that we're back, we are going to there is a few changes. Maybe you'll even tell by how this video is, but we are hiring an editor.
Oh, yeah, shout out Isaiah.
King Isaiah Brudger.
Yes.
Yeah, because that was also I couldn't handle it anymore, editing it. I loved it, but we were doing it consistently, and then I had all this other shit. Trust me, if all I had was my 9 to 5, this would be light work. I would be able to put so much into this, but we did have to hire an editor. So for the first maybe who knows how long, for a bit, we're gonna have the training wheels on with it. So we were talking about doing an episode twice a month instead of every week, every other week. Until maybe we feel like we have the group down, or maybe we have a scheduling down, and then we can bring it back up. But we're both comfortable with that, right?
Yeah. I feel it's better to get adjusted than jump in the water right away. And also, that way we get more of a feel of Isaiah too.
Oh, exactly.
If it doesn't work out, we can just can him.
Yeah. No, we're just kidding. Really. But more we got to learn each other's styles and stuff like that. Yeah.
And he needs time to get used to it. We need time to get used to his. So I feel like it's for the better. Yeah,
genuinely. So we're gonna be doing that. We have an episode that we already have filmed. This is gonna go up first, just so you guys, we're not just randomly back. But then within a week or within the week, we'll have that second one out, and then from there it'll go to every other week. And
I'm my hair is long in the old episode.
Oh yeah,
I had to cut it, so.
That's funny. Yeah.
I'm not crazy. I didn't get institutionalized or anything. I just wanted to cut it myself.
Yeah.
But
what else?
Oh, the next episode. Should we talk about that?
Yeah. So our next episode, we're gonna have another guest.
Yes.
We talk about her all the time.
Yeah.
It's Eileen.
Put a face to the name.
A face to the name, exactly. So we're really excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, make sure that you stay following us.
100%.
We're gonna be posting a lot more consistently. We talked about that amongst ourselves, developing up that a bit differently too.
Be patient too.
Exactly.
If we do end up needing a break.
Yeah, and you guys will know.
Yeah.
And we'll communicate that next time.
We'll try
versus just being we'll just, even a story post or a feed, hey, a week or two, we'll be back. Yeah, and this is on, I should have done that. And, again, I just get so in my head of they hate me. I don't know, I'm literally crazy. But, we're crazy together, and that's why we get along. It's okay.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much.
Oh, yeah, thank you for watching.
This is the DL show.
I'm Leo.
I'm Drew.
I'm Leo.
And bye.
Bye. Thank you.